Southeast of Pensacola, Florida. That is where the center, the eye of the hurricane is located. Maximum sustained winds 85 miles an hour, and the Erin continues its northwest track at 12. Hurricane warnings now Apalachicola westward to Morgan City, Louisiana. It would appear at this time, looking at radar and the track of the system over the last couple of hours, that the best chance of landfall is somewhere in the western Florida panhandle, near in the Pensacola area, for instance. Already hurricane force winds noted on land with wind gusts to about 80 miles an hour at Panama City within the last hour. Numerous power outages and damage already indicated. The northern edge of the eye wall, the most intense part of the storm, within about 20 miles of the coast. So this is a very serious situation. Florida panhandle, southern Alabama. More with an update in just a moment.
The U.S. Coast Guard's Navigation Information Service provides boaters with radio navigation information and general navigation information. Access our electronic bulletin board, fax on demand service, or visit our website.
8,000 steps
till 1996. Call toll-free 1-800-733-9200. That's 1-800-733-9200. Call now.
Watching the Weather Channel. Accurate and dependable forecasts you can always turn to. And when you're away from your television, the Weather Channel forecast is also available from the following.
Good morning. We're live in the Weather Channel Forecast Center. Jim Cantore here with Stu Ostro. Stu is senior meteorologist joining us as we prepare for Erin's landfall, the strongest we've seen Erin yet.
That's right, Jim. Good news and bad news. I guess good news, if there is any, is that the plane investigating the storm did not find any lower pressure. In fact, it was even wobbling up a little. So at least the intensification process is not continuing. The bad news is that it did deepen explosively overnight, and as you said, it is as strong as it has been during its entire history, which we can see if we look at the satellite photo showing the eye of the storm just off the coast here, just off the Florida Panhandle coast. Reds and oranges surrounding it in a very symmetrical fashion. The deeper rain clouds, which is what we look for to see and in terms of assessing the intensity of the hurricane. And if we go to the radar, we'll get a little closer look at it. Just to set you up, this is the Florida Panhandle in here. It's a little tough to see the boundaries, but that is the Florida Panhandle. And the intense rain squalls right around the center of the storm, right around the eye of the hurricane, are just about approaching the coast. Already we've had power outages, and so there's a lot of people not even able to watch us right now, but if you are able to watch us, you need to take this very seriously.
Yeah, and what's important too, as you mentioned, that is a tremendously intense band, and you're going to go from conditions that may seem, you know, 35, 40 miles an hour to all of a sudden what could be, what do you think, 80? Even greater?
Yeah, at least 80 or 85 in terms of the sustained winds, but there could easily be gusts past 100 miles per hour, and if that's not something that you've ever experienced, it really is tough to comprehend.
Probably a lot of structural damage and almost immediate power outages with that.
We've already had reports of windows being blown in.
Where do you think this is going from this point? I mean, we're talking Pensacola, Mobile Bay.
Well, the trend overnight has been to take more of a northwesterly track, which would take it to Pensacola, just east of Pensacola, but the steering currents are not all that strong, so we'll have to watch it closely.
All right. Thank you very much for that update. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
We were blessed with 3 healthy, rambunctious kids who were not blessed with perfect vision. That's why I love Pearl Vision's buy one, get one free sale, because it means everyone in the family can have a free extra pair of glasses. Did I mention they were rambunctious?
How tough are kid-safe lenses from Pearl Vision? They'll stand up to the roughest players around. Kids. Impact-resistant kid-safe lenses at Pearl.
See your local Pearl Vision Center and Pearl Vision Express. Have you got your pearls on?
Wonder if they still fit. So far, so good.
Part of having a great look.
Whoa, good. It's an understatement.
Is keeping it. And Kellogg's Special K can help.
Fit like a glove.
Great toasted taste, just 110 calories and fat-free.
I look like a teenager. I look like a rock star.
Kellogg's Special K. Great taste never looks so good.
Too bad I can't sing.
Don't let the weather jeopardize your plans for success. Tune in to the 5-Day Business Plan following your local forecast right here on the Weather Channel. For up-to-date information on the weather that affects you, watch the local forecast. Coming up next, only on the Weather Channel.
Top of the morning, everyone. 21 now past the hour. It's Thursday, August 3rd. I'm Bruce Edwards here with Rick Griffin. In about 8.5 minutes, got another update coming your way on Hurricane Erin bearing down on Pensacola, Florida this morning. But right now we're going to see what we anticipate will happen with Erin and other weather systems over the next 5 days. Now today, if you're traveling eastern seaboard, no airport delays so far, all up and down the eastern coast. But once again, if you got a flight to Mobile, Pensacola, maybe even New Orleans or anything around the central Gulf states, you want to check ahead with your air carrier to make sure the flight hasn't been canceled or delayed or something, because Erin's going to have an impact on travel along the Gulf Coast, both in the air and of course on land. As we take a look now at the situation in the midsection of the country, there'll be scattered showers and storms, perhaps Detroit and Chicago and St. Louis later today, into Oklahoma City and Dallas, but so far no delays reported, and nor are there any delays along the west coast as well, so keep that in mind. I have some word that Interstate 10, though, to the west of Pensacola, for those evacuating, has been closed down in spots. So you want to watch out here as you head for safety. Strong to severe storms a threat here across the Gulf, of course, with Erin, and other strong storms from the hill country of south central Texas right up along the frontal boundary into the Great Lakes. And later on this afternoon tonight could see some strong storms across central and northern New England. Now, the Severe Storms Forecast Center has issued that tornado watch for all of North Florida from roughly Tallahassee eastbound through Pensacola over to Mobile. So once again, Interstate 10 is where you're going to have the most significant problems. Flash flood watches posted for all of southern Mississippi, much of northern, and even in central Florida. Matter of fact, they've just issued a flash flood warning for Brevard County, Florida. Now, that's away from Erin now, but still there's some big heavy thunderstorms that have been pumping around Erin and moving into the peninsula. Flash flood watches also over north central Texas and Oklahoma. This is from the remnants of Tropical Storm Dean. That moisture moved in, there's a lot of it, and it just sat there, and it sits there, and it rains and rains and rains over the same general area. So it's presenting some problems. Now, remind you on our weather maps, tropical storm and hurricane forecast positions are provided by the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida. And there we'll see that by midday, it's likely that Erin will be on shore, making landfall for the second time. Of course, the first time was the other evening in Vero Beach, Florida, cruised across the peninsula, now taking a beeline towards the Pensacola, Mobile area. Heavy downpours of rain, hurricane force damaging winds, high tides, beach erosion, the whole ball of wax right there with that system moving on shore, while the remnants of Dean and this front will trigger some scattered showers and storms. And really, these will be the two main players over the next 5 days. The tropical moisture with Erin and the moisture ahead of this front as it slides to the east. Now, for today, some scattered showers and storms central and northern New England, but by tomorrow morning, the warm front moves back up, so the heat will return to Boston and Hartford and Providence, and it'll stay hot in New York City, while it'll stay very wet in the lower Mississippi Valley, and again, from Texas on into the Great Lakes. Now, the numbers today from New York southbound towards Raleigh-Durham, 90s, high humidities, an awfully muggy day, while from Pittsburgh to Columbus to Cincinnati all the way down to the Rio Grande Valley, 90s, and it'll stay hot through the west. A sticky morning tomorrow morning to start your Friday over most of the country, and once again, the 90s return to Boston and Providence and Hartford, continue along the mid-Atlantic states. They will diminish somewhat in the Ohio Valley because of the front pressing in. That'll bring a few more clouds and showers. The heat remains in the west, and the trend for the next few days, a couple of things will happen. We'll see 90s return to the southeast, 90s returning to the plains for the weekend, but as that front edges through New England this weekend, we'll see some cooler 70s and low 80s return, and that represents a rather refreshing change from what you've seen all week long. The price you pay will be showers and storms, but in the northeast we can use the rain and portions of the southeast as well. But heavy rains in the Gulf with Erin and that front, you'll see it right like so with that tropical moisture feeding in. The front will edge towards the mid-Atlantic and the Ohio Valley. So really this swath of moisture is what we'll be seeing not only for the next 24 hours, but likely the next couple to 3 days or so, as this will be the main focus of our energy and moisture as far as showers and storms are concerned right on through Monday. A Hurricane Erin update coming up.
So, there's a new kind of fruit? Is it tough? Is it slippery? No. Then what's new about it? Oh, I see. This fruit won't shift, ride, or bunch. Hey, it's golden! The new Gold Series. It's fruit you can wear. Fruit of the Loom. Always in season.
Ever notice what some people put in their Ziploc and only Ziploc brand storage bags?
Emergency camp rations.
A soggy mess.
My favorite midnight snack.
Looks like a lot of people put important stuff only in storage bags from Ziploc. That's because we put in tough, thick plastic. Wow! And the only zipper with tough gripping teeth you can feel locked tight in 5 perfect sizes.
My first baking success.
Ziploc, it's all you need.
And this weekend outlook is sponsored by Ziploc. Let's check on Friday's daytime highs. Always going to be another hot, steamy day. Boston, New York, southward to Columbia, South Carolina. Winston-Salem near Cincinnati, 90s over a good chunk of Texas, sizzling, typical summertime heat in the southwest, Southern California, Southern Nevada, most of Arizona. Notice the cooler 70s over the upper Great Lakes. They spread south and east into the New England states by Sunday. A refreshing breeze late in the weekend, Boston, Buffalo, Harrisburg, and probably Washington, D.C. Wedge of 90s through the middle of the country, continuing into the early part of next week. Now, the remnants of Erin probably in this area Friday with heavy soaking rains and near a stalled out front into northern New England. Showers and thunderstorms are likely. As we get into Saturday, the southeast will be wet. Remnants of Erin right about in this area. Drier day in Detroit, Buffalo, and the Hudson Valley. Boston, you could have some showers into Sunday morning and then drier Monday.
For a scope of coverage you won't find anywhere else, watch WeatherScope coming up after your local forecast, only on the Weather Channel. For up-to-date information on the weather that affects you, watch the local forecast, coming up next, only on the Weather Channel.
Good morning, Jim Cantori live in the Weather Channel Forecast Center, continuing to update you on Hurricane Erin as the brunt of Erin is about to unleash itself right around Fort Walton Beach, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Some of the wind gusts we've seen: Hurlburt, Florida, up to 69 last hour, 51 at the Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Panama City 52, and Valparaiso at 53 miles an hour. So we're into it here, folks. Let's go to the satellite and we'll discuss this thing a little bit. We've definitely got a more intense system. This is the strongest Erin has been since the inception of the storm. In other words, it's more powerful than it before when it came into Vero Beach yesterday. You can see a very, very well-defined eye. It's moving off toward the northwest, and we do anticipate landfall with this thing probably within the next hour or two. You can get a great shot from the radar here. You can see the banding of this thing, just beautiful. And as it comes into the western Florida panhandle, again, weather conditions have been going downhill all morning. You can see the heavy rain here from Tallahassee on west. Not too bad in Mobile yet, but please don't be fooled there. Conditions are going to go downhill in a hurry. We go ahead and show you this radar. Here is Mobile Bay, the border between Alabama and Florida. This band right here, ladies and gentlemen, is a very, very strong band, probably the strongest band we've seen with the hurricane so far. And as it moves onshore, I mean, it's not more than 15 miles offshore here. Here's the Pensacola area. Here's Fort Walton Beach down and through here. Destin, a lot of resort areas, a lot of homes along the beaches here. When this band moves in, do not be surprised to see conditions go downhill in minutes. We're talking about from 40 miles an hour to what could be 80, maybe even 100 miles an hour, possibly with some sustained winds. So we got some big problems on tap with this thing as it continues to move closer and closer to shore. A strong system, to say the least. Jill Brown is with us. She is in Mobile, Alabama, on the phone, and she's going to let us know exactly what's going on there. Jill, I just showed the radar showing not much rain there, but I'm sure the winds are starting to pick up. Would you agree?
The winds are starting to pick up. It is actually, I was just thinking, it's been kind of a nice morning. Now we can see the winds begin to pick up just a little bit, but it's still kind of hard to believe that we're about to see a hurricane head this way. And, you know, last night as we were heading down the Gulf Coast, it started looking like this hurricane was going to miss this area. But we noticed on the radio evacuations were still in progress. We saw folks everywhere boarding up and taping windows until after midnight, all the way down to the Gulfport area. And it's a good thing that no one, you know, kind of let their guard down as it looked like it started taking a track farther to the west, has obviously now made the turn to the north. So folks right around Mobile are still preparing, even though it looks like we're going to be on the weaker side of this hurricane. The causeway is closed at this point across the bay, and we have mandatory evacuations down on Dauphin Island, Pleasure Island, as well as Alabama Port at this point. And that has just happened in about the past hour, so they're really doing some last-minute evacuations at this point. And it's no surprise because actually down on Dauphin Island, while we'll be on the backside of the storm, Jim, and we'll be getting the offshore wind, as you know, that's going to really lessen the storm surge, but Dauphin Island will get the north wind, so they will still get a storm surge. Either way, no matter which way the wind's blowing, they're an island, they're going to get some storm surge from it.
Yeah, again, Jill, looks like conditions are going to go downhill in a hurry there, but right now, folks in Pensacola over to Fort Walton Beach are preparing for the worst. Thank you very much. We'll check back in with you later. Hopefully, we'll have a live shot from Jill. We'll be able to see exactly what's going on in the downtown Mobile area. But again, folks, Hurricane Erin, as strong as it's ever been, on the verge of potentially becoming a Category 2 storm, or at least having some aspects of that, and that's a whole different animal than what we saw move into western Florida. And I'm not taking anything away from the storm that hit you or the damage that you personally may be dealing with, but this again is a very, very powerful hurricane, and the folks from Fort Walton, Destin, and all along the beaches there are going to experience a lot of problems. And as I mentioned, it could go downhill very, very rapidly, so stay with us. We'll continue to update you on Hurricane Erin. Again, as that outer band makes landfall possibly within the hour, we'll let you know exactly what that's going to be like. We'll go to Rick and Bruce in the studios and find out what the rest of the nation's weather looks like for this Thursday.
Thanks a lot, Jim, for that update, and Jim will be back in about 15 minutes with another update on Hurricane Erin.
That's right. It looks very reminiscent of Hurricane Frederick, although Frederick came more from the south and plunged right up into Mobile Bay. That's back in 1979, and I was in Pensacola. It's no fun when those hit. That one hit at night. At least this one's during the day, so maybe visibilities will be somewhat improved, but we'll be watching it very, very carefully.
We will. You know, one of the characteristics of landfalling tropical systems is tornadoes.
That's right.
And just in the last 10 minutes, public has reported a tornado near Mary Esther, Florida. That's in Okaloosa County. The twister was reported on the ground and moving west on Highway 98. And other tornadoes are likely to develop across Okaloosa County, the Florida Panhandle, southern Alabama, Mississippi, and southeast Louisiana as Erin moves inland. And this is a new, just issued tornado watch, which remains in effect for this area until 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time. So that is one of the factors in landfalling Hurricane Erin that will be a serious problem for some folks as the day progresses. Here's Erin on the infrared satellite picture, wobbling its way off. Right now, the center looks like it's going to be heading in very close to Pensacola. Of course, I'll have more detailed information on Erin coming up and again in about 15 minutes. What's happening elsewhere across the country? Well, you folks in the Mid-Atlantic, get set for some hot, Oppressively hot and humid weather from Charlotte, Winston-Salem up to D.C., Philadelphia, New York. You'll be well into the 90s later on after the low clouds and fog burns through. In fact, speaking of that fog, it's a pea soup situation across much of Massachusetts, along the Turnpike, parts of Rhode Island and Connecticut, and in the Susquehanna Valley of Pennsylvania. Now, right along this front, we have noticed isolated showers over southeast New England. They still exist over parts of southeastern Massachusetts and north central Rhode Island. 70 now in Boston, but 77 in New York, and it's mid-80s already. In Washington, D.C., just 9:30 in the morning. It's going to be probably in the upper 90s today around our nation's capital, and the heat indices will make it feel well above 100. 80 in Nashville.
Information about John Deere lawn and garden equipment, contact your local John Deere dealer.
Whew. My feet are so sweaty and smelly. My wife calls me swamp foot.
You need new, more powerful Odor Eaters foot powder with odor-destroying baking soda. It not only can absorb 25 times more wetness than pure talc, now it has over 25 times more odor-destroying power than Scholl's Super Deodorant Powder.
Wow, no more swamp foot. It sure dried up that smelly swamp.
Dry up wetness, destroy foot odor with new Odor Eaters foot powder and new Odor Eaters foot and sneaker spray.
For the conditions and temperatures across Europe, watch international weather coming up right after your local forecast, only on the Weather Channel. For up-to-date information on the weather that affects you, watch the local forecast coming up next, only on the Weather Channel.
One other disconcerting report that we've gotten in the last 15 minutes is a report from the reconnaissance plane showing a drop in pressure. It's only a couple of millibars, which is not too significant, but if nothing else, it shows that this is still a powerful storm, maybe even trying to strengthen a little bit more as it comes in. If we go right to the radar, let me set you up here with the outline of the Florida Panhandle. One thing I want to point out here is that due to a computer glitch, the radar is getting to be about a half hour old, so this bright band here right around the eye is probably scraping along the coast, the barrier islands just east of Pensacola right about here. Already, even without the actual eye wall coming onshore, we've had gusts to 70 miles per hour, a little bit inland, trees bending over and practically touching the ground, so there's no doubt that right along the immediate coast, things are going downhill rapidly.
All right, with this band you just pointed out, let's get more specific. Where do you think it's going to be between, I mean, for the most part, and how much, I mean, what are we talking about sustained winds here?
We're talking sustained winds at least of 85 miles per hour. If you define a sustained wind as one lasting, say, a minute or two, then I would think in that bright band right around the eye, it wouldn't be out of the question by the time it comes on shore to have sustained winds of close to 100 miles an hour.
Perhaps a bit more destructive than when it came into Vero Beach, not taking anything away from that destruction, but this is a different animal.
Right, it caused some problems on the peninsula as it was, but its whole character on the satellite, on the radar, the pressure that the plane is finding indicates a more intense storm than what came on shore and east coast of Florida.
All right, thank you very much, Stu Ostro. Folks, stay with us here at the Weather Channel. We'll continue our live coverage at the top of the hour with everything crossing our fingers here. We're hoping to talk to a resident in Fort Walton Beach, an area that Stu and I think will feel the brunt of this thing within minutes. Stay with us.
You're watching the Weather Channel for accurate forecasts at your convenience. Weather you can always turn to.
There's a new wave to save. Hurry to the JCPenney Buy More, Save More wave, where kids can rock in all the coolest looks for back to school, and mom can roll in the savings. From 20, 25, even 30% off most kids' items. The more you buy, the more you save. So do the wave. This week only at the JCPenney Kids Buy More, Save More sale. But get it in motion. Sale on Saturday. It's wave cool.
I can always tell when a kid gets a good report card. There's a look in his eye and a smile on his face like no other time.
Thank you, Mr. Carter.
Oh, you're welcome, Kevin. Kevin's one of those You Can Read kids. You Can Read is that videophonics reading program that gets children off to a running start in school. Makes me wonder why every parent doesn't call and order You Can Read.
Call 1-800-262-READ, 1-800-262-READ, READ.
It's 12 before the hour. Time for your tropical at 29.9 north, 86.7 west. Maximum sustained winds at 85 miles an hour. And Erin continues its northwest track at 12. 973 is the central pressure and weather reconnaissance aircraft.
I'm here with big-time golfer Lee Trevino, speaking to you on a Motorola personal cellular phone. To test its toughness, we're going to drop this phone like they do in the lab. How many feet are we going to drop it, Lee? 4. You know, Nicholas got me on the first try. The more you need a cellular phone, the more you need Motorola.
Concerned about your family's safety? Then note that Subaru Legacy wagons, like Volvo wagons, come with many safety features. Plus one even Volvo doesn't offer. Subaru all-wheel drive, which automatically transfers power from the wheels that slip to the wheels that grip. One reason, perhaps, why the Legacy wagon outsells all Volvo wagons combined. For true safety isn't just helping you survive an accident, it's helping you avoid one. For a limited time, get 1.9% financing or lease for just $199 a month.
Visit your nearest Subaru dealer today to experience the beauty of all-wheel drive.
Find out the conditions before you get on the road. Watch the Michelin Drivers Report, following your local forecast, only on the Weather Channel. For up-to-date information on the weather that affects you, watch the local forecast. Coming up next, only on the Weather Channel.
I can always tell when a kid gets a good report card. There's a look in his eyes.
In the rain, in the snow. It even saves gas. And now through July 31st, the tire engineered to take the world's finest luxury performance touring sedans through just about any weather helps you predict it. With this Oregon scientific weather forecasting station, free when you buy a set of 4 MXV4 tires, Michelin's new energy tires with radial XSE technology. It's science that goes beyond magic.
Find Michelin tires at this dealer near you because so much is riding on your tires.
For a scope of coverage you won't find anywhere else, watch WeatherScope, coming up after your local forecast, only on the Weather Channel. For up-to-date information on the weather that affects you, watch the local forecast, coming up next, only on the Weather Channel.
Our live coverage of Hurricane Erin continues here in the Weather Channel Forecast Center. We have gotten an observation at Hurlburt, Florida, which is just to the west of Fort Walton at the Air Force Base there. 1/2 mile moderate rain, estimated wind 03 at 60 knots. That's about 70 miles an hour, gusting to 86 miles an hour. The outer eye wall is also moving overhead, and obviously the pressure is unsteady. So this thing's moving on shore, folks. Let's go ahead and show you the latest radar that we have in this area, and we'll zoom in for it and give you a couple of details. You can definitely see the eye making its way off to the northwest. We expect that track to continue, so yeah, landfall is imminent. Some of the heavier squalls that we can't see on this particular radar that would show up very nicely on the Doppler, and unfortunately an untimely computer glitch has not allowed us to give us that Doppler, but nonetheless you can see right in here that this band right here, which is the northeastern eye wall, is moving onshore. Now of course with Pensacola being about in here, we've got Fort Walton Beach here, and all along the beaches there and Santa Rosa Island. We do expect quite a bit of structural damage here. Power outages, if you don't have them already, also phone outages. As this band is moving onshore here, folks, again, please be prepared for conditions as they may worsen as we go from 40 to what could be 80, even 100-mile-per-hour winds. I do believe this morning that we're going to talk to a couple of folks. Our first person will be Dwayne Strickland. He is a resident of Fort Walton Beach, an area that's feeling the brunt of this storm. Dwayne, if you are with us this morning, could you please give us an idea what is going on right now?
Well, pretty much the wind has just picked up in the last probably 20 to 30 minutes. It's probably been the worst it's been all morning. Trees are really swaying pretty good, and rain's pretty much coming down in sheets. That's about it for now. Haven't seen a whole lot of structural damage. There is tops of a couple of trees missing, and that's been about it. We still have power.
As a resident of the area, how did you prepare your home for this?
Well, we pretty much moved all the lawn furniture and that kind of stuff indoors last night, and we had already stocked up with most of our hurricane supplies when the first tropical depression came through. I think it was Allison earlier this year.
Did you feel that residents around you did the same thing? I mean, do you feel like Fort Walton Beach was ready for this?
I feel they were pretty ready. At least our neighborhood. Everything was pretty much picked up and out of the yards by last night when I got home.
All right, Dwayne, as you may or may not have heard, the more intense band now near the eye wall is coming toward you, and conditions from what you see right now may actually even get a little bit worse. So hang in there, guy, and thanks a lot.
We'll do that.
All right, we're going to go to Jill Brown now, who is in Mobile, Alabama. This is an area that could be affected a little bit later on, especially as the storm moves on off toward the west. Jill, looking at the latest radar here, it looks like you have a rain band which is just about to move on in. You're in downtown Mobile. You can probably give me a better idea what's going on there.
We're on the west side of the bay, Jim, and things are still pretty quiet here. After the heat wave we've been having, actually this is not too bad. Of course, if you were completely out of the loop, you wouldn't have any idea there was a hurricane headed this way because the winds are just beginning to pick up, just very little bit of rain. But at this point, the city is in the third phase of their emergency management procedures when a hurricane is on its way. They evacuate everyone from the oil rigs. That's in phase one. They take boats and ships, and they move them 15 miles up the Mobile River to what they call heavy weather moorings. And at this point, just as of about an hour ago, or maybe 2 hours ago, they started evacuating Dauphin Island, Pleasure Island, and Alabama Port, and they've also closed the causeway. So while things are still pretty quiet right now, it's sort of in that last few minutes of that last phase of getting everything settled. And even just 5 minutes ago, we saw folks running out and finishing taping up some windows. So I think everyone's pretty much set, and we're just kind of waiting for things to pick up here.
All right, Jill, probably the next 1 to 3 hours you're going to see conditions go downhill. Thank you very much for that live update and also interview. We're going to try and see exactly what's going on Mobile with Jill at some time in the near future here. As soon as they can get a truck set up there, we'll actually be getting some live pictures from Mobile, so tune back in with us. Again, the eye wall appears to be on shore somewhere near Fort Walton Beach. Conditions obviously there, as we mentioned, from the Hurlburt Ob gusting to 86 miles an hour. There may even be higher gusts with that one band that I showed you on the radar. So prepare yourselves, folks. The worst heading onshore right now. And if you're in Pensacola and Mobile, as you saw from the direction and movement of this thing, looks like it's coming your way. Let's go to the studio and find out what the rest of your Thursday looks like right now.
Thanks a lot, Jim. And Cheryl, I talked to my brother, Jim, this morning. He's a Coast Guard member in Savannah, Georgia. He's an air survivalman, one of the guys who they jump out of the helicopter and jump into the water and save people. He was part of an amazing rescue yesterday. 70 miles off the Georgia coast, they were able to rescue 5 people from a raft. They'd been in a tugboat. The tugboat sank. They were in 30-foot swells, and fortunately, they were able to be rescued. But we don't want anything like that today, so hopefully the Coast Guard with this storm will not have to do anything like that. But we're certainly watching this very closely. It's a tough situation.
Indeed, and as we have warnings and watches and things, I mean, you really have to take these things seriously because the weather can really go downhill in a big hurry very quickly, and it's a very dangerous situation, as we've been mentioning. Let's check out the current weather situation. Obviously, our big story today, Hurricane Erin. It's still producing some very squally weather. We've been seeing some big wind gusts, winds gusting at times over 85 miles per hour. We're still raking across the Florida Panhandle right now, and just some tremendous amounts of rain. There have been numerous reports of power outages and windows blown in, so just a lot of damage already picking up right now across the Florida Panhandle. And indeed, it does look as if landfall will be imminent here within a little few hours or so. So just a really rough time throughout the northern Gulf. But besides Hurricane Erin, we also have some other big stories going on today, too. We have the remnants of Tropical Storm Dean. Now, all week long, we've been talking about heavy inundating rains for Oklahoma and Texas, and more heavy rains again broke out last night. Heavy rains especially for northern Texas and across western fringes of Oklahoma. Right around Washita County in Oklahoma, close to 5 inches of rain since last night. More heavy rains, too, have been breaking out around Grant County in Oklahoma, so there have been some flash flooding already taking place this morning. Now, the bit of good news, though, is that I think the rain showers and thunderstorms will be tapering off as the day continues to wear on. Eventually, some drier air will become entrained behind our weather system, and I think the rainfall today will not be as significant as what we had earlier in the week, so that is definitely great news. At the same time, though, we're watching a frontal boundary pressing in across the heartland. That, too, has been responsible for some showers and storms, and some of these showers and storms have been dropping some tremendous amounts of rain, too. Overnight, we had reports of close to 4 inches of rainfall from the Michiani Airport around South Bend, Indiana. So here, too, localized flash flood watches and warnings are out for southern sections of lower Michigan, as well as for northern sections of Indiana. Today, with that progress of the front, there'll be a chance for more strong thunderstorms from the lower lakes and extending southward.
We'll put the maps in motion, and where is all that moisture from Erin going to go? We know that if you're watching us from the southeast, you would probably love some rain on your lawns. It's been so dry. It looks like a lot of that moisture will be pulled northward. So where your flowers are just wilting in the Atlanta area, a chance for some rain coming into play in the next 24 hours or so. Again, our hurricane is going to make landfall today with high winds, heavy downpours, and we keep that possibility of tornadic activity too. If any warnings are issued, we'll scroll the information for you on your screen. You're under heat advisories in New York City right now. A hot day today. Excessive heat in Philly and D.C. too. So no chance for rain. We know you'd like some to cool off. It's just going to be downright hot here. Cooler over northern Maine. 70s on tap. All right, the southeast, yes, heavy rain, torrential downpours. All eyes are on Erin. And we're also tracking the remnants of Dean, our old system that moved into Texas. And that will continue to drop some heavy rain too. Locally 4, maybe even 8 inches of rain for some spots along the Gulf Coast region. In this region, well, we do expect rain. Kansas City and St. Louis, you might see an inch or so with some of those slower moving cells. It does look like along the front, you have a good chance for rough stuff. And if any warnings are issued, we'll let you know. Hot weather today in Columbus, Ohio, and down through Cincinnati too. So again, that's a big story. Heat. We haven't forgotten about you in the Northeast. We know we're watching Erin very closely, but excessive heat advisories are in effect around New York City.
Yeah, and besides New York, Philly, as you were mentioning too, so a very uncomfortable weather pattern. But the good news, that big heat wave should be breaking for this upcoming weekend.
Good. You can get out and enjoy some nice weather for a change.
Stick around. Coming up shortly, we'll be updating Hurricane Erin and how Hurricane Erin might be affecting your weekend weather plans. So stick around. We'll check out that weekend forecast coming up.
Here's your Pop-Tart.
Another one. See you after baseball practice.
Got the toaster strudel?
Of course. So when is your mom going to find out about toaster strudel?
Soon, I hope.
Pillsbury Toaster Strudel is like a Pop-Tart, but better, with layers of flaky pastry, juicy filling, and do-it-yourself icing.
So what do you do with the Pop-Tarts?
Something better just popped up in your grocer's freezer. Pillsbury Toaster Strudel.
The age-old concept of one vitamin fits all has been one-upped.
Today, watch international weather, now 42 minutes after every hour, only on the Weather Channel. Weather you can always turn to. For up-to-date information on the weather that affects you, watch the local forecast. Coming up next, only on the Weather Channel.
In business, you can't always count on an easy road to success.
Sponsored by Motorola. The more you need cellular phone, the more you need a Motorola.
Only on the Weather Channel. Weather you can always turn to. The Weather Channel. For up-to-date information on the weather that affects you, watch the local forecast. Coming up next, only on the Weather Channel.
Good morning. It's now 22 past the hour. Thanks for checking in with us. Let's get to the national satellite picture. We have the radar overlay to show you rain from Michigan all the way down to Texas, and we have had reports of flooding. We're still tracking the remnants of Dean. Lots of heavy rain here and more flooding still possible. Of course, this is our big story of the day. It's Hurricane Erin, and that eye wall is just along the coast now of Florida. They're feeling the effects right over the panhandle of Florida at this hour. We continue to scroll information for you on your screen regarding the tornado warnings that are coming in with our hurricane. Let's move in for a closer look. We'll show you some regional stops from Michigan down through Indiana back to Illinois. We have rain. You've had some rain this morning in the Chicago metro area. It appears you're in a little bit of a break now on the south side around Harvey, but more rain is going to move through. South Bend, you've had all kinds of heavy rain. Flooding is certainly a continued possibility. The rain and storms extend right along I-70 as you head west from St. Louis to Columbia, Missouri, and we move down through Oklahoma and Texas, and we have